Hello there, this is Battleborn again. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the topic of emotional incest. And this is a topic that goes into a lot of different areas when it comes to narcissistic abuse, and especially during childhood. And this video is going to be about emotional incest done by narcissistic parents towards their children. So this might look a little bit different from case to case, and narcissists will not always use the same methods to do this, but basically it has to do with breaking boundaries, no respect for boundaries, limits, your own identity. All these things are completely foreign to a narcissist. They have absolutely no respect that you are a single individual with your own emotional development, age, limits, or any of these things. So what narcissistic parents often will do, and how this often will look like in a relationship, is that you have either one or two parents that are narcissistic, and you will have one child or more than one child. And some of these children will be put in positions where they absolutely not belong emotionally. So the difference between incest, when we talk about incest, and it has sexual connotations, and the emotional part is basically that the emotional part is very difficult to detect. And sometimes, often, sexual incest is also difficult to remember, because narcissists do these things very subtle, and it's not necessarily that you remember that this happened to you, or this happened to somebody in your family. So, but the emotional incest is often something that lasts very long, and often a lifetime with narcissists. You will have this feeling that they breach into the very core of who you are, and like they try to live inside your brain, like they try to actually be inside you in some way. And the way they do this is to both let you in on emotional stuff, and this then goes from, of course, a parent towards a child. So the narcissistic parent, will let the child in on emotional secrets, or not really secrets, but emotional stuff that the child does not really have anything to do with. So the narcissistic parent will then might tell the child stuff that goes on between them and their partner, like adult stuff, and they expect the child to have a response to this. They also expect the child to engage in this kind of problem that the narcissist creates. And this is all also done because in a narcissistic relationship, there is a very bad communication. There is usually non-existing communication between a narcissist and the other spouse. So what narcissists do is that they use their own children as vessels to get these emotions out there somehow into the family. So these children might become great communicators. They might become excellent at seeing other people's needs, because they have been used for this for so long from their childhood. But it's not right, and it was never right if this happened to you. Often these topics might also have actually sexual underlinings, like they will tell stuff that is like far above your age. You should really not know these things, and really you should never know these things, even though you were an adult. You know, people are supposed to have limits. People are supposed to have boundaries. They're not supposed to tell you stuff about their private life, even though they are at the same age. Some things are private, and that's what narcissists don't honor and they don't respect that part. And this goes, like I said, also towards their own children, especially towards their own children. So these children will have the feeling that they are supposed to take care of the emotional communication between the narcissistic person and their spouse. So they will have this really heavy feeling of everything is on their back, so to speak, that the relationship might even feel like they are the one that is supposed to make things happen. They are the one that is supposed to help out their mom or dad so that this relationship will work out. It's completely wrong, and it is done very often. And I think a lot of people are not really aware that this has been done to you. If this has happened to you, a lot of people are not really aware that this was wrong, even because it doesn't give you any bruises. It doesn't, and it's not that much talked about. So it's not really easy to identify that this happened to you, or if this happened to you, that this was indeed wrong. Oftentimes, these children will also go into some kind of role of becoming a therapist or a counselor, or they would basically feel like they are their own parents' psychologist. So they sit down, they talk about stuff that has nothing to do with them, and the narcissists don't see that this is wrong. They don't connect the dots, so to speak. The narcissists know it is wrong, but they don't respect that in regards to their own children. So what they will do is that they will give all this emotional luggage onto the child and expect the child to carry this around. And what often happens then is that the child will become very confused to what is their emotions and what is somebody else's emotions, because a child is not meant to be in that position. They have not developed themselves emotionally to even deal with these kind of situations in their own life. So now they're put in this situation from other people's angle. And just think about it: if you met a kid or somebody like that at that age on the street, or that you even know of, and you would start talk about your own private life with that child, that is emotional incest, and it's like nobody would even do that. So it's very close to it's a form of molesting. Actually, it is, because it is putting the child into a situation that is uncomfortable, which is something narcissists like to do. They like to put people in uncomfortable positions, because they know that if you are in an uncomfortable position, you will not be you will be at a disadvantage, and they will be able to control you more easily. And also, this also creates this trauma bond, that you know so much about this person, your parent, that you will have a very hard time of detaching from that person. That you feel like you have this special bond with your parent that is supposed to be special, but not in that way, and not in that sense. So the narcissistic parent is in many ways acting as a child molester towards their children. A lot of times they are. Especially this is done from narcissistic fathers towards their daughters, or narcissistic mothers towards their sons. But it might also go the different direction, but this is usually how it looks. And oftentimes also the child might also take on the role as a substitute parent for the narcissist, meaning that if you have a son in the family, he might take on the role as being or acting out the role of a dad towards the narcissistic mother. Or if you have a narcissistic dad, there might be a situation where a daughter might become his mother, so to speak. And again, it's completely wrong. And again, this is emotional incest. You're basically being put into a role that you didn't ask for, and you should have absolutely nothing to do in that kind of role. And even though you were asked for it, it is completely wrong. So, but this is a gradual thing that often happens in families with narcissists. It will start off with something, um, and it will just develop into this completely perverted way of relationship with their own children. Um, and you will have this sensation that you don't really own your own thoughts. Nothing is private. Privacy is very foreign in narcissistic families. It's usually something that most victims of narcissistic abuse from childhood will struggle with for a long time, because they never had any privacy. So, kind of like the boundaries have been breached at a very young age. And this is wounds that will take a very long time to heal. And there will always be remnants of these of this behavior done to the child, within the child, or within the person that has been abused this way for their life, I think. Because it's so, a lot of these things that narcissists do is very graphic as well, in the sense that they will let these children in on a lot of secrets, a lot of adult topics. And the narcissist will not hold back. They will share, they will tell everything in details often to their children. And the child will be overwhelmed and will develop usually strange coping mechanisms, or coping mechanisms at all, to deal with this information that is coming in. A lot of children will say that I don't want to listen to that, or stuff like this, but even though you say that, these things will enter your mind. And that's what the narcissist knows. They know that these things will get into your system, and it will create this bond, like I talked about, this trauma bond. And it's very important for the narcissist to keep this up. And oftentimes they will also use this against the child. So if the child becomes rebellious, or they don't want to play this part anymore, the narcissist will sometimes, and very often, threaten to disclose secrets that the child has told the parent. So it becomes like this relationship basically between a child molester and a child. If you think about it, this is often how they also play it out, when they threaten to disclose what happened, what they did, that the person let them touch them, all these things, and they will tell this to someone else, and the child will become horrified and will give in. So it is both blackmail, it is emotional abuse, it is emotional incest, it is incest, and all these things at once. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video touch upon the topic. So thank you for listening in, and have a good day.